Okay, what's going on, guys? I just wanted to make a really quick guide for Holy Paladin in Arena for 9.1.5. A lot of stuff has changed for Holy Paladin since the last season, and maybe a lot of Holy Paladins just stopped playing or something, but there's not a lot of new information out there that I could find. And so I thought I would make this guide to kind of help people that are still trying to play Holy Paladin this season and that, you know, are looking for maybe some of the new information so they can continue to be competitive and at the top. Um, I'm not a rank one pally or anything like that, but I've been multi-gladiator for a while now, so I thought I would just throw my expertise in and um, try and help the paladin community out. Um, so anyway, we're gonna start off. We're gonna go with go over like talents, go over honor talents, go over the different covenants and like their soulbinds and conduits and stuff like that, and then talk about 2v2 and 3v3 a little bit. Maybe I'll talk about that while we go through it, and then also talk about the the best comps you can run as a holy paladin in this patch. Um, so let's just hop right into it. It's going to be some new information probably for some people and some old information. The build hasn't changed that much as far as talents and honor talents go. Um, so in threes, depending on your comp, this will probably be the standard build that you run. Um, Bestow Faith is super good. It's something you can put on someone maybe before you go into CC, or just it's a really super mana efficient heal. It's only 600 mana. One of the things with the changes is that pallies are a lot less mana efficient than they used to be. We used to be like ridiculously mana efficient, so maybe that's justified. Um, but I always choose Bestow Faith. I never take Crusader Strike. There may have been a past, or Crusader's Might, sorry. There may have been a time in the past when you take that, um, because, like I said, we were so mana efficient that the mana cost on Crusader Strike didn't matter a whole lot, but it costs a ton of mana. Never Crusader Strike in Arena. Just don't do it. It's not worth it, unless you're like literally going to kill and you have a global and you don't have judgment or holy shock or any other move that does damage, because Crusader Strike doesn't do very much damage and it costs a lot of mana. So don't ever take that. Light's Hammer is pretty trash as well. um, Holy Prism, really bad. Judgment of Light, I mean, I can take it during like Torghast runs. That's when I take it usually, but generally you want Saved by the Light. This is really super good. So let's see if I can proc it. Basically, you put beacon on you, put a beacon on the kill target, and whoever's probably going to be taking damage. In 2v2, you can have on both of you, but basically you drop, and I think I just got frictionless coating. I don't think I can proc from this, just from falling. But essentially, when you drop below 30% health, you get an absorb shield of about 10,000. And it doesn't seem like a ton, but it's really really useful. And you can swap that beacon around. So basically, if someone just had the Saved by the Light procced on them, you'll have a little debuff like right here saying that you just got Saved by the Light. You can take the beacon target off of them, or I mean, if they're still the kill target, you'll want to have it on them, but you can take it off of them and swap it to someone else to make sure they can get the benefit if they're targeted. Um, and it's only a 1 minute debuff, so you can get it a few times during an arena match. Super, super good. Um, this is a row where you'll have a lot of flexibility. Um, in threes, depending on the comp, you'll probably take Blinding Light. It's really hard to get reps off in threes against good teams. There's definitely some comps where you'll want it though. With warriors, um, maybe with Shadow Priest, anything that doesn't have a polymorph DR or an incapacitate DR, you can take Repentance. Um, but generally, Blinding Light has been uh, the best, at least in 3v3. In 2v2, I would run Fist of Justice a lot of the time because you can kind of overwhelm your opponent and just kind of dampen and keep stunning and stuff like that. Um, this next row, Cavalier, most likely going to be what you take at all time. You can try Rule of Law if you want to be like, if you're having a really hard time against Frost DKs or DK teams, you can take Rule of Law. It makes it so you increase the range of your heals. So you can actually heal from like, I think it's 50 or 60 yards. So you can like stay out of grip range and you can have a couple charges of that. So maybe if you're like just trying to stay really far away from the fight, you don't want to get gripped in, blinding sleet, whatever you have to do, you can try that. I don't know. It's whatever. I usually don't take that. Um, Cavalier is just so good because you have this conduit where Divine Seed's duration is increased by 90%, so it's almost double the time. You're literally on your mounted up for like close to 6 seconds. So when you're going to land CC, you know, having 2 charges of speed is just really, really valuable. Unbreakable Spirit, I'm thinking about trying a build. Well, I'll get into that maybe. I'm going to make some videos about the specific covenants, and I'll talk about this talent maybe when I go over like the Night Fae covenant. But right now, the games are too fast. I don't think it will really matter if you have bubble on a shorter cooldown. If that's what you're relying on, I don't think it's gonna help you. This talent, always take Divine Purpose. I would say um, Holy Avenger is just not good anymore. It was really good in BFA, but it's just they changed it. It's a 3-minute cooldown. It's not good. Seraphim, I've experimented around with it. It's pretty lackluster. You get 8% haste, crit, and verse, and 12% mastery, and it's just like it just doesn't matter. Like you spend 3 holy power, and I don't know. I think it's really hard. Like if you get CC'd on it, or I don't know. A lot of times you really just need the extra procs that Divine Purpose gives you. So like Divine Purpose, basically what it is when you use a holy power spender like Word of Glory or Shield of the Righteous, you can get like a proc for it to proc again. I'm getting unlucky here, but it's only a 15% chance. But not only is it a free um, holy power ability, but it does increase damage and healing. So it's stronger than your regular holy power um, spenders. So take that one there. Oh, I got an Awakening proc. So that brings us to the next talent. So you have Awakening here. This is definitely the best choice on this one. Sanctified Wrath is okay, but like I said, that's what's kind of frustrating with Pally is you're kind of dependent on RNG a little bit. So like if you get Divine Purpose procs, it's really good. If you get Awakening procs, it's really good. When you don't get those, that's when it gets a little bit tough. But Awakening, as you just saw, you Word of Glory, it gives you wings, and then you have wings for 10 seconds. So you can get at least one Hammer of Wrath in, um, and obviously just more heals. Here, I pretty much only take Beacon of Faith. Um, Glimmer, you could use it. It's mainly only as like purge protection, but I think Beacon of Faith is just too valuable. I mean, you have 2 beacon targets, and so every flash of light you throw into whoever or into your beacon targets, you get another holy power generated. So it's just important, I think, to take Beacon of Faith. So that's generally the build you want to run right there. Honor talents, this is where you can get a little bit more flexible. So this is typically what I run. Um, Unless I'm running like some higher rated games maybe where I'm worried someone might get like completely destroyed, I'll run Ultimate Sacrifice instead. Um, Ultimate Sacrifice, if you guys don't know, it makes it so basically you can't kill that target for 6 seconds. So if you Ultimate Sacrifice someone at 1%, like doesn't matter, no matter what, for 6 seconds they will not die, but you will take all the damage that is going into them. Um, so that's something to think about. But generally, Ultimate Sacrifice is really, really good. Um, so take that if you're having troubles keeping people alive. Like if you don't sacrifice high, then they could still die through sack, and that's really bad. You don't want to you don't want to have to sacrifice someone and then also like bomb someone because you didn't take ultimate sack. It's kind of a waste. So it's a gamble to play blessed hands, but it is nice to have the extra charge of freedom and extra charge of blessing of protection. Mostly the freedoms. The bops, honestly, bop is pretty useless nowadays. I think every single team has a purge. It seems like, and so you know you can bop out of stuns. That's pretty much the only useful thing for bop nowadays. Um, or against teams that don't have a purge, but those are very uncommon. So that's generally what I run there. Now, maybe some new changes here. This is a new honor talent, so casting judgment on an enemy. It cleanses one poison, disease, and magic effect they have caused on allies within your aura. So you can run this. I've tried it in 2v2. Um, it's okay. It's all right. If you are good at saving your judgment, or if you don't use judgment as often, like I try and use it on cooldown just to add some extra damage. But if you're playing this, you kind of have to hold on to your judgment um, to try and get some value out of the dispel. So you can play that. It's not terrible. This actually is really good against DKs because they constantly have to chains of ice you. And so basically what you do when you play this is anytime you consecration, which is only an 8-second cooldown, it frees you from all roots. I should, no, let me take that back. It doesn't free you from like Frost Nova. So like a snare like that, it will not get you out of that, which is unfortunate. But like Chains of Ice or Hamstring, basically any slow, you can just, and it's gone. So that's really good against DKs. You can kite them quite a bit if you run this talent. Um, it might even be better than the two freedoms. So because you have consecration plus a freedom still. So there's that. Divine Vision's pretty bad. They changed that. Oh, Cleanse Weak. Cleanse Weak's actually good. So Cleanse Weak, I'd run this against pretty much every Elemental Shaman team. Elemental Shamans, they have control of lava now, which makes it so whenever you dispel Flame Shock, it actually does damage to whoever dispelled it. And that's okay because even though it does do a decent amount of damage, a lot of times it's better to get the Flame Shocks off anyway. And with Cleanse the Weak, you can literally cleanse I think at least two flame shocks at the same time. Basically two allies. So when you dispel an ally within your aura, all allies within your aura are dispelled at the same effect. And then healing allies with your holy light will cleanse all diseases and poisons from the target. That second part doesn't really matter. You hardly ever holy light now, so that doesn't really matter. And rogues and DKs will just reapply diseases and poisons, so that doesn't matter. But for like flame shocks, immolates, stuff like that, you can get really good value out of this talent. It doesn't. It has like a limit. So here in the tooltip it says when you dispel an ally within your aura, all allies within your aura are dispelled of the same effect. That is like not completely accurate because there's like a limit. You can't, if all three of you have like flame shock and immolate on all three targets and you press cleanse the weak, it will not get rid of 6 flame shocks and or 3 flame shocks and 3 immolates. Like it's just that's too many things. I think they put like a limit on it, but it's still really valuable. Like you take it, the echoing shock or the primordial wave, and then you cleanse the weak and take off all their flame shocks, and it's a really sad elemental shaman. So that's super good into um, that kind of comp. Um, Something that didn't see any play before, but I have actually been playing it recently, is this Darkest Before the Dawn. So Light of Dawn, you'll generally never press it because it's such a weak heal and it's 3 holy power and you have Word of Glory, so you might as well just press Word of Glory. But this new change, what I really like, so I'm playing Necro right now, and I'll get into Covenants here in a second, but basically, so anytime you Vanquisher's Hammer, you get 2 charges, so your next Word of Glory automatically triggers Light of Dawn with 25% increased effectiveness. So you get 3 holy power or whatever, and you throw a Word of Glory on yourself and it automatically Light of Dawns. So if you see here, I'll bring this up. Word of Glory healed you for 11k, and Light of Dawn actually healed you for 9k. And so you get actually a lot of value out of Vanquisher's Hammer and the additional Light of Dawn procs if you run this. So Affliction locks, you see a lot more of those nowadays. You still don't see a ton, but you see a lot more. And you can't really run Cleanse the Weak into Affliction locks because unlike Control of Lava for shamans, the unstable affliction like punishment for cleansing is much worse, obviously. Like it'll hit you a lot harder. And so if you cleanse 2 unstable afflictions at the same time, like, you could go from like 100% to 30% health or something crazy, and then they can just swap to you and kill you. So you can't really run this against affliction locks anymore. And then you can't really run blessed hands because depending on what their partner is, usually a shadow priest, so you get pretty much no value out of blessed hands. You can't really run judgments of pure. Like your honor talents become kind of a little bit worthless against comps like that. So I've actually been taking Darkest Before the Dawn into comps like that because it really helps with AoE healing. First of all, because Light of Dawn is an AoE healing spell, and then you get tons of value out of it with your Vanquisher's Hammer. So that's what I will say about talents and honor talents. The next thing I wanted to talk about, let me see here, I have it written down. Talent, honor talents. Okay, so next thing is covenants and legendaries. So right now I'm Necro. If you look on the ladder, or like the leaderboard, you'll see most Pallies are Kyrian still, and Kyrian's still really good. But when I came back, this is the problem I had. So I came back and I was doing some 2v2, and I was like, dude, what did they change about Pallies? Like, it felt horrible. Like, I was getting out damaged by like all the disc priests and rest of shamans I fought. I was getting out healed by like rest of druids, which obviously makes sense, but also out healed by like disc priests and stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, like what am I supposed to do here? Like these healers are doing more damage than me, and they're out healing me. And so I was just like looking at the patch notes or whatever. And so they increased the Holy Shock's mana cost. They decreased the damage that Hammer of Wrath did, and they decreased the damage I think the Judgment did or something like that. And so we were just really lacking on damage pressure. Like I would say almost every 2v2 comp with a Kyrian Holy Pally is better with the Disc Priest or a Resto Shaman. Like I'm serious, and any comp I could think of is better with those two healers. And then obviously you add Resto Druids, and like depending on the comp, Resto Druid is much better than Holy Pally, especially in 2v2. And so I was just kind of experimenting around. Oh, and another thing is you go way faster. So like you would get outmanaged by disc priests, which is like generally used to not ever be the case. And you definitely get outmanaged by druids, shamans, and mistweavers and holy priests. So you're bad on mana, and so you can't really dampen in 2v2, but you also don't do any damage as a Kyrian Holy Pally. Like not any damage, but you don't do very much damage. Like most healers will do more than you. Even like on my shaman without the Earth Ellie Lego, just like I play Earth Shield Lego instead, and like just lava bursts all out damage to Pally every single game. So I was kind of looking for something else, and I just decided to check out Necro because they have a pretty cool legendary. It's Helm of the Duty Bound Gavel, so you get an extra charge of Vanquisher's Hammer, and then each additional cast of Word of Glory will automatically trigger Light of Dawn, so you get 2 of the free Light of Dawn procs instead of 1. And I love it. So basically it makes it so your mana problems are much less as a Pally in 2v2 because Vanquisher's Hammer gives you a thing of holy power and also heals you a little bit. So you get this conduit. Vanquisher's Hammer deals 180% increased damage and heals you for 50% of the damage done. So that's really nice. It helps with the mana problems, gives you holy power, and heals you for a little bit when you throw the hammer. But the best part about Vanquisher's Hammer is, and they nerfed this conduit already. It's already been nerfed in PvP, but it's still super strong. So you wings, just got a 15k non-crit. Obviously, it won't be that high in PvP, but basically it takes Pally back to kind of where it was before 9.1.5, where it could actually do damage. Like, I mean, I'm getting 30k on this training dummy. That's not gonna happen in arena because it's nerfed, but you'll still get like 14, 15k crits in arena, which is like nuts. It adds a ton of pressure, and you can basically, get these stacked up, while the game's going. Like you get those stacked up, and then whenever you land CC, you have huge bursts and huge kill potential. You'll have Hammer of Wrath, Judgment, in addition to Vanquisher's Hammer, and so it makes 2v2 so much better. Like I love playing 2v2 on my Necro Pally and do super well, um, just because you have that extra damage and the extra damage that you really really need. You make it so you're more competitive with Disc Priests and um, Resto Shamans and Druids because you can put pressure on the other team yourself. Like sometimes I'll play with a Feral Druid a lot because I have a Feral Druid friend, and sometimes it just becomes like a healer race. He'll go on the healer, the other damage is going on me, and we'll win a lot of the time because I can pressure the other DPS off of me just by myself. Like I can put enough pressure out onto the person targeting me that healer like has to heal him, or he has to run away and try and peel the Feral Druid off of his healer just because of the pressure you get from Vanquisher's Hammer, Judgment, Hammer of Wrath, and just playing aggressive. So I will say Necro, I think, is by far your best bet in 2v2 um, if you want to push. So that covers that. I'm screwing around right now with all the different covenants. I'm gonna make videos on all the different ones. Um, so I have like the covenant legendary for Venthyr, which I found to be pretty underwhelming. So that's one other thing I'll say. Like last patch, people like knew if it was like a Venthyr HPAL, they had big Hammer of Wraths. That's not really the case anymore because of the nerf to Hammer of Wrath damage. And so even when you run Ashen Hallow and you'll put Ashen Hallow down, pop wings, and Hammer of Wrath someone, you actually do less damage with that Hammer of Wrath than you do with one Vanquisher's Hammer. So you just, like, there's no. I don't really see the point in playing Venthyr in twos for sure, um, or in threes to be honest. But it's kind of fun to meme around. I've played it in some battlegrounds. It's not terrible. On some rated battlegrounds, just to like you throw it where in the big team fight and you can do a lot of damage and a lot of healing with it. So it's okay. But like I said, you'll do more damage with Vanquisher's Hammer than you will with Hammer of Wrath, even when Ashen Hallow's down. And Ashen Hallow's a 4-minute cooldown, and Vanquisher's Hammer is a 30-second cooldown. So honestly, Necro is just better there. I just got this for Knife A. Knife A in Arena, it's not. I don't know. I still have to experiment with it a little bit, and I'm gonna do some weird comps. I think with it, you can. I've seen some videos where people will like put Blessing of Summer on like a rep pally, and they also have Necro Lord banner, and then they just like one shot someone with Blessing of Summer. So that could be something that you could do. I'll probably just kind of joke around with some friends and try it out in some games, see how it goes. Um, I don't really like that kind of play style. Like I'm not gonna like trying to play around a one shot is not really how I like to play. So I probably won't play that too much. This is a legendary I would take if you are going Kyrian, and basically it makes it so your Holy Shock gives a little bit of an absorb shield to whoever you Holy Shocked, and you'll look at your healing breakdown after a game, and Shock Barrier will actually do a really good amount of heals. So you can take that if you're going to play Kyrian. So this is where I got surprised with Holy Pally because I thought, okay, I'll go Necrolord for twos because, you get Vanquisher's Hammer, and plus Fleshcraft is pretty sweet. Like, you Fleshcraft, you have this Soulbind, and you're immune to CC still. They nerf Fleshcraft, so it's not as big of a shield, but you're immune to CC, which is super helpful. And the shield is really nice. If you get kicked on Holy, you can Fleshcraft shield. Everyone knows the benefits of Fleshcraft. It's super valuable. Um, but if you I thought that Kyrian would still be better for threes, and so I was just like, I'll just go Necrolord in twos and then stay Kyrian for threes because Divine Toll is awesome and it's a super big heal, which you need in threes with how bursty it is. But I actually think Necro is better for threes as well, and that might change depending on the comp that you're in. But honestly, I think, or maybe it's just based on playstyle. Like if you want to play more defensive, I think Kyrian is better. Like Divine Toll is really, really good, and it can get you out of some sticky situations. But if you like to play aggressive, I think Necrolord is better, and you'll do better on mana as well. The thing about being Kyrian is they increase the mana cost of Holy Shock, so it's not as mana efficient anymore. And then Divine Toll is also cost 1500 mana, and Vanquisher's Hammer doesn't cost any. Um, so you'll have to be trying to look for drinks a lot more when you're Kyrian. You'll still have to look for drinks as Necro. Like not saying you're not going to ever have any mana problems, but it's less so than Kyrian. When I was Kyrian, I was just discovering like it was just a lot. You're a lot less mana efficient, and I thought I would miss Divine Toll a lot more. When I went Necrolord, I still just think I still think it's better for threes. So um, that's what I'll say for that. I think Necrolord is the best Covenant for Pallies right now. And I know you'll look at the leaderboard and most of them will still be Kyrian, but I think that a lot of the people on the leaderboard are just like chilling there from the beginning of the season. I don't know how many are actually playing because like when I watch a lot of Holy Paladin streamers, or I used to when they streamed, but I don't see any Holy Paladin streamers anymore really, and so I don't know if they're just sitting rating or what, or they're stuck as Kyrian. But um, Born Good played Necrolord in like the AWC finals, like the top four, and I think he was just kind of a little bit ahead of the curve. That's before they buffed Necrolord, and he still chose it over Kyrian. So now that Necrolord's been buffed, I think Necrolord is just it's just better. Um, so that covers Covenants, Soulbinds. You'll want to play if you're going to play Necrolord, Plague Divisor, Marilith. Um, this is going to be the conduit you want to upgrade the most. You can upgrade conduits by doing assaults, by doing tormentors or Torghast, or just by going to Korthia and getting those Soul Twine Crescents. I still gotta farm some stuff to upgrade my conduits, but basically, yeah. So these are the conduits you'll want to take. Righteous Might, Shielding Words. So this makes your hammer deal more damage and heal you for more. Word of Glory gives you a little shield, kind of like Shock Barrier, a little bit, but it's just done through Word of Glory healing instead of Holy Shock. You want to get this one, increases the critical effect chance of Holy Shock. Oh, I'll go over stat priority after this. That reminds me. Um, increases the crit chance of Holy Shock, really important. Lights Barding, Divine Steed durations increased. You could play this. You could have a build where you have this in here somewhere. I don't. I probably should. Maybe I'll put it right here. Anyway, um, so this makes Divine Steed longer, almost 100% longer. So almost twice as long. Super good. And then I really like this. Light of the Martyr. So basically, it stacks. Let's say I can heal this guy. So Light of the Martyr damage and healing increase by 9%. You press it again, it stacks up to 18, 27. Like you can get it. Obviously, I'm killing myself while I'm doing that, but this is really important because right now the ladder is infested with RMP, and if you're not the kill target, a lot of times you're going to be the kill target because even with Fleshcraft in the open, they're gonna get bubble. If the priest gets to mind games, like you're gonna have to bubble. Like that's unless your teammates are really good at peeling, just count on combust mind games. You're gonna have to bubble. Um, but if you're not the kill target against RMP and they're sheeping you a lot, then you Light of the Martyr all this. Oh man, you Light of the Martyr all this health away, and then it's super mana efficient. It's only 700 mana. Um, and then the mage just sheeps you and heals you back to full. And so you want to then you don't have to cast, you don't have to open yourself up to, you know, getting CS or Spellstill CS on your Divine Favor or Shadowstep Kicked or anything like that. You just Light of the Martyr and then the mage polys you and heals you back to full. Obviously, you have to be careful, look out for swaps and stuff like that, but super valuable. And so I think it should go in your third potency slot. There's really not any other potency that's really better than that, I don't think. So yeah, I would take that. Uh, let's see. This one's okay. It's not. Oh, I don't know if you guys can even see it because my face covers it up a little bit. But it's the. I'll go to up here. It's the condensed Animosphere. When you take any damage, heal for 4.25% of your maximum health. It's whatever. You know, it's you have a defense conduit right there, so you can put it right there. If you want to put pure concentration, which if you're running into a team with a lot of fears and you're running a caster cleave, you'll want to run concentration aura, which reduces the interrupt and silence effects on party members, which is really, really valuable if you're running a spell cleave. Super good. So you can take this and put that here instead of taking that last defense conduit or whatever, endurance conduit. But I will make a note, it's only for your allies. So if you get feared, it's still going to be for the full duration. I'm pretty sure it was bugged at the beginning of Shadowlands because I swear I was getting the minimized fear duration at the beginning, but they've made sure it's just the allies that get it now. So that could be really, really valuable depending on the comp that you're playing against. But other than that, yeah, this is essentially what you want to run, and this is a soulbind you want to pick. Let's see. Oh, the last thing I want to talk about was comps. So 2v2, 3v3. 2v2, I think your best comps, probably a warrior would be really good. Warriors are just really, really strong right now. Most of them will probably run with a druid or shaman, but if you find a cool warrior that will queue with Pally, then you can take repentance, and you can have good CC chains, really good pressure, and really, really good twos team. So I would say warriors, windwalker monks are really good for Pallies in 2v2. I haven't ran with the hunter very much, but I would assume like a survival or a beast mastery hunter would be really, really strong as well. You can help them set up for traps with Hodge. You can run blinding light and blind off of traps, kind of like a priest would normally fear off a trap. Blinding light's obviously triple the cooldown of fear, so you won't get it as often as a priest, but they don't have Hodge, so it kind of evens out. And so a BM hunter would be really good. I run with the Feral a lot just because I have a couple Feral friends actually, and it's really good. You run Repentance into a lot of comps, or you can run Short Hodge. And even though the latter has a lot of BM hunters, which are normally really hard for Ferals, we still make it work. It's still good. So those are the comps I would run with in 2v2, and then in 3v3, we used to be a lot more versatile. Like last patch, just because we were such a strong healer, and you could spec into a different CC depending on the comp, and that still is a little bit the same, but you're not as good as you were last patch. You're more reliant on the comp. I know last patch with my shaman, I felt like I had to run specific comps in order to do well, and I didn't feel like that on my pally. But now it's like I feel like that on my pally. I have to run specific comps if I want to do really well. So best 3v3 comps for pally, I think, are um, Warrior Mage Pally or Windwalker Mage Pally. I think those are probably the two best comps. If you can find something like that, I would run that. I also run Pally Jungle sometimes, just because I have people on my friends list that play that, and I can't be bothered to gear my priest, so I'll just play it with the Pally, and you'll run Blinding Light, and you'll set up traps by hodging, and you'll Blinding Light off traps and stuff like that. It's not bad. You can do really well as Pally Jungle. Probably not as good as Priest Jungle, but still really well. Um, and then I think you can play a lot of Caster Cleaves. I think Pally with Caster Cleaves gets slept on because Rest Druids are so prominent and their throughput is so high. So they're just kind of better with Caster Cleaves. But I think that Pally could be really good. Like I could see Shadow play, or like Shadow Priest Ellie, or I don't know. I could see some caster plays, like even Mage Lock. I could see. I think Mage Lock obviously would be better with a Druid, but I could see it being played with the Pally. You bring Concentration Aura, which is super important, and then also you can be a mana efficient healer and like a defensive healer, but still add a lot of pressure with these Vanquisher's Hammers. Like I remember a game I was playing Shadow Priest Ellie, Holy Paladin, and uh, it was on. I think it was Black or Cold. Is that what it's called? The one with the like the little rooms, like the gates. I don't know. Anyway, basically, I'm just staying back, and anytime we're playing Warrior, Shadow Priest, Shaman, anytime the Warrior would overextend, I'm just hitting him with Vanquisher's Hammer. I'm literally just dampening them by, doing as much damage as possible while keeping my team alive. And we actually outmanaged the Shaman to win, which was like pretty crazy. That's generally not how you're gonna win, but because of uh, concentration aura and like the extra damage you can deal, you can do really well as a caster cleave. So I'll just say that I think that's pretty much gonna wrap this guide up. If you have any questions or comments, you can ask them in the comments here, or I'm gonna start streaming again. I haven't streamed since my last Glad push last season, so it's been a long time. But I'm starting to stream again. Twitch.tv Stockraz12, the same name as this channel, and I'm happy to answer any questions there. Or if you are close to another rating bracket and you need a little bit of help to get over the hump, I'm happy to maybe help you get there, and just also give you any tips on how to play Holy Pally a little bit better. Um, and then I'm going to come out with a series of videos for like the covenants, I think, and so that'll be fun too. But I think for now that should wrap up the stat priority really quick. So stat priority, generally you're going to want to go for crit, just because you rely on. See, I didn't get one there. Needed it. You get infusion of light from your holy shock. So if your holy shock crit, there it is. It reduces the cost of your next flash of light by 30%. So it basically makes it the same mana cost as your holy light, which is really good. And then, or it causes your holy light to generate another holy power, which generally you won't be holy lighting a ton. That's another big difference as well. You just don't holy light as much as you used to in the day. Like they changed Light's Grace talent. It's a little bit different. And so you just don't holy light. The game's too fast. You flash of light heals for more, and you just can't spend 2.3 seconds casting holy lights anymore. You can for like the extra damage reduction, because now you don't have to cast it 3 times to get the 15% damage reduction. You just cast it once and you get 15% for 5 seconds. So it still can have value depending on the type of game that you're running or how mana efficient you want to be and stuff like that. But generally, you want to go for crit. It's also really helpful. I mean, when you are in a game and you wings and you get a 30k crit like that, I mean, on your Vanquisher's Hammer, your Judgment, your Holy Shock, stuff like that, crit is really good for Holy Pally. So I stack crit as much as I can, but I also like to keep a little bit of haste because it just feels clunky without a little bit of haste. So you want to play with some of that. And as far as trinkets go, I mean, I run Shackle and Trinket. The throughput from just the intellect is really, really good. Like the 105 intellect from your trinkets is big. You can play Battlemaster still. They nerfed it, but I think it's still really good into a lot of comps. Like if you know you're not going to be able to play super aggressive, like you're not going to get value out of Shackle, definitely play Battlemasters. If you're going to be the target, play this because it's still really valuable. Like 17k health or 16k health, and this isn't even fully upgraded. I still have to upgrade it, but I have no honor, so actually I could upgrade it. So I would play this instead of Maledict in a lot of situations. Really good. And yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next when I make some Covenant videos. There's going to be some really fun stuff I think that we're going to try with these Covenants. So I'll see you then.